International Comics Crusaders, only on ComicCrusaders.com. Yo, and we're live.
Hello.
What's poppin'? I'm your host, Al Mega, as you see right there, joined by my boys over here, Mr. Dave Elliott, Mr. Chris Buse.
Hi there.
And joined by an industry legend. I mean, my man's been everywhere, but he's right now the Kickstarter king as well. Ain't nobody toppling Jimmy down. Well, I'm talking about Jimmy Palmiotti.
Thank you, guys. Great to
Thanks
be here.
for coming.
Thanks for doing this, Jimmy.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yo, thanks for coming on, man. It's definitely been a wild ride in the past few weeks with comics, specifically a brand that you've worked with as well in DC Comics.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was some heartbreaking layoffs, cuts. I mean, we're talking about, something like this right here. Is like, really? DC Universe, DC Direct, no more?
Yeah.
What's going on? I want to pick everybody's brain here. So, Jimmy, being as a guest, I mean, what do you think these motives are here with DC, AT&T, and all these, changes?
Money. Comes down to money and how much money they can get and how much money they can save. If you look at who was cut, it's pretty much everyone that was paid very well.
Yeah.
It's everyone that's been working in the industry for 20, 30 years. I mean, you got guys like Bob Harris, Vince Letterio. I mean, there's so many people with legacies of Hank, all those guys, legacies of
Bobby
working
Chase.
in comics.
Bobby Chase. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you literally can get everyone they fired or laid off or whatever word you want to use and take them somewhere else, give them a salary, and start another comic company. That's how many people were laid off.
Wow.
It's tough in the middle of a pandemic, and people need security right now. But that's the corporate way, man. Right? Any excuse to kind of cut the fat a little bit. But like I said, I think the company personally, the company's going more towards worried more about licensing than content. So they want new directions, and you can get people now for one of those guys. You can get 3 people for whatever they were getting paid salary. I personally think it sucks because you have people working 20, 30, even more years, and they're not going to hit that retirement age yet. So they take whatever package they can and move on. But I've seen it since I've worked at Marvel. I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I've seen it at DC before. When DC went west, they got rid of a lot of people too. Unfortunately, this is a business that does not have a lot of parachutes and security. We the 4 of us can sit here and we can name every company and maybe almost every comic that comes out. So if you think about that, it's not really a big industry. It's a small industry. So I just think Warner Brothers new owners said, "Hey, we're spending too much money in all these different places. Get rid of the people that have pulling big checks and might put up a little bit of a fight with the new way they're doing business." And it makes sense. Once they got rid of Dan DiDio, the gloves were off because Dan was the guy that fought for everything and everybody. It's just going to be, look, the comics will still come out. They'll probably be a little safer.
Was that the beginning, you think, though, with the start of Dan, knowing that he was a fighter, get him out first and then, wait some time and do this?
Well, when a new person, I think Pam came in, she wants to bring her people in. And, then when you come into a job and you're the boss, you say, well, this person fights with me a lot because they're passionate. We don't want to mix that up. Dan was a very passionate person. Who knows what? I don't know the inside part. These are all me guessing.
Of course.
But I think it's like when you take over a job, you want to bring your own people in. So I think maybe some of that happened too. But it's a big company. AT&T is a monster. Just like when Disney bought Marvel, it's less adult comics now. I don't know if you noticed, right? We don't have the mature line books now. Probably DC, we're not going to have that. These are going to be, when you make more, like I'll give you an example because I know this. Like, so the Harley Quinn comic, when we worked on it, made money, did very well. But the 1,000 licenses they sold at, $50K and up probably made a hell of a lot more than our comics.
I'm sure.
As a matter of fact, maybe 1 or 2 licenses made more than our comics. Maybe they made a film, maybe Suicide Squad and Holly. So it's like the licenses are big business. And when you have a company that's a giant publicly owned and shared company, you have to show numbers. So I don't think it's an attack against content. I don't think it's an attack against people. I think it's business as usual with business.
See, I came off with that attitude. AT&T hates comics.
No.
I thought that way initially. I know they don't, but I thought that way initially.
I think they love comics. I think they love the licenses, and they love what comics do in film and TV and T-shirts and
that. You said it in film and TV. What does that mean for the print, though? You know what I mean? They already came out with a couple of cuts. I mean, a Hawkman, Teen Titans, some other titles getting cut after the announcements. No?
Yeah, but let's be honest. So you're the new person up there. You get rid of a bunch of people, and you want to start fresh. So what do? You cancel a bunch of titles over the next 6-8 months, and then you relaunch everything. Of course it's going to happen. How many times have we seen this? There's no guesswork here. There'll be a new Harley Quinn series. There'll be a new Hawkman series. There'll be a new... It's how this business has been run since I got into it in 89, 90.
So is that a detriment, though, to the growth of the business if it continues just repeating the same tactics?
Well, it's Superman keeps battling Lex Luthor, and the X-Men keep battling Magneto. And how many times are we going to see the Joker fight Batman? Right now, it's sold over 300,000 copies. A Joker book. It's this is a consumers here want. When you go into an ice cream place, you always order the ice cream you like most of the time. And I think the consumers here just want what makes them happy, and that's it. There is a crew that looks for new things, and they want new ideas. There is a crew that's older and says, you know what? I want nudity. I want violence. I want my books to go crazy. I want heavy metal brain set. I want to see everything and anything. And then there's the big crew that goes, you know what? I hope Batman fights the Joker soon. And so we've seen this since we were all kids. And what sells right now? Oh, the Joker. Well, wow, that's shocking.
Surprise.
So this is, understand the comic books is like one big round record that keeps playing, and it goes to the end and it pops back and starts again. I don't know how, it's up to us. It's up to creators to kind of shake that up a little bit, or take the needle off the record and use it for something else. And it's small. It happens, it happens here and there. But for the most part, comic people have a sense of security in a never-ending loop of
if you look at their young adult offerings, I was very surprised. If you look at their young adult paperbacks and graphic novels, there is Superman Fights the Klan. That is a concept from the 1940s from the radio show. So everything is going back in full circle. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the young readers line is not new. Okay, we've had Spidey Super Stories, we've had all these books before. It's just the format changes, and they're selling it as something new. Diversity is great, right? So you can work the diversity angle into the new stuff. And that's great. It includes some other people in the books. We get new readers. Anything we can do to get new readers, great. If we're going to get kids to read when they're young, trust me, by the time they're in their 20s, they're going to be looking back and finding other things that interest them.
I think also we need to give those new books a chance. Batgirl Year One, which was also geared at a young audience, was a great art by Pablo Marcos. Was a great miniseries. I really loved that series.
Yeah.
It was not dark. It was fun. It was friendly. It was nice. It was clean, and I still liked it. It was very well done.
It was another introduction, right? Here's Batman again. Here's Daredevil again. Look. When I did Marvel Knights with Joe Quesada, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We just took the wheel and made it shinier, and then matched the right people up with the right books. But we gave them different ideas, but it was still Punisher, Daredevil, Black Panther, and Inhumans. We didn't, we just added what we thought would make it work. And that's basically what comics is. So that's my 2 cents on it. You guys can, whatever your opinion.
Yeah, I think the only thing, the difference I think is with this is the change we've seen over more say 40, 50 years in, and not just this industry, but all industries,
right,
is that it's no longer enough about profit. Profit's fine, it's shareholder value.
yes,
So if that means, if you can keep the shareholder value up, but spend less doing it, then that's what they're going to try to do. So
Absolutely.
if they can, so if they think, if somebody there thinks, well, I've seen what they're doing, I can do as well as these guys, so let's get rid of these guys out, bring some cheaper talent in, and let's try and do the same thing. They're going to try to do it. They will definitely try to do it. The good thing is, well, yeah, but I mean, what's great is that I don't know all the people at DC at the moment, but I know it's like giving Marie Javins a really a strong editorial hand. I think that's brilliant. I think that long overdue. I think she's been marvelous for so many years. Her time at Epic and Marvel. She worked with Karen Berger on Berger Books. So you know, I hope they keep her, and I think she'll do great.
Jenny Kahn did.
Well, I mean, Jeanette Kahn came from outside of comics, and she came
from children's books. She didn't have any comic experience, but she had experience in publishing, and she was very young.
Dan DiDio
very well connected. Yeah,
Dan DiDio came from outside comics.
Yeah, I think we both knew Dan from Mainframe.
Yeah, from Mainframe. I mean, he was outside comics too. You know, I think you know, Marie's fantastic. I mean, you know, I remember when I was doing Marvel Knights, Marie was in the office down the hall from me, you know, working on the coolest things, and you know, she's a great choice. But in that kind of job, you realize real quick that you work for somebody else.
Yeah.
So they're going to tell you what to do. So it's going to be interesting. But like I said, I've seen people go through this job. I've had two friends that, you know, had that job for a long time, and I would see their frustration. And you know, it's just business. And I think the thing that's different, and I will say that's different now, is that people are aware of creators. Because even in the 70s, I was aware of Neil Adams, and I was aware of Bernie Wrightson and Mike Kaluta. But I was one of those rare people, because my friends would sit there and read the comics and go, "Oh, this guy's stuff looks cool," and I'm like, "That's Jim Starlin." They're like, "Oh yeah, I think I like him," you know. But it was, people weren't aware of who was writing and who was drawing. Now they're very aware, and that sets up. That is also the thing, that these companies create these stars that become too expensive for them.
Yeah.
And it's up to the stars to step out and do their own thing. And that's what's different about comics now, you know.
But it's when you say that they become too expensive for them, it's weird, because like, you're the ones who actually gave them the sales.
Yes.
And without you, the sales aren't there. So they're thinking that I'm just going to replace you guys with these guys, but sales will go down. Like it will.
Well, because when business people think it's the characters all the time that's selling it. And how can they not think that when they have 100 licenses with Batman on it? They don't even know who drew Batman. They don't even know who the artist is. So comic fans are different, right? But business people look at it as like, well, whoever we put on Batman is going to be the top writer. And you know what? They're right. They're 100% right. If you want to be the top writer in comics, write Batman for a year. That's all I'm going to say. It doesn't matter what you do. You will be the top writer. So their point of view is, at least the lens they see it through, well, that guy's too expensive. Get somebody cheaper. There's 100 guys. And you got the morons going, excuse me, morons. I don't know if that's a great word. But you got people that, I'll do it for free. You know? And so you have a generation that'll just do anything for free. But the reality is that corporate sees that and they take advantage of that. You know, and how can they not? That's their job. Yeah. All their job to do is try to get things cheaper, show more profit. That's their main job. And art happens in between everything when you least expect it, you know?
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I know from my own experience and the executives I've known from Warner Brothers that, and from Paul, when I worked with Paul, there was definitely, he was definitely fighting to keep DC in New York. He wanted to keep the Warner executives out of the running of DC Comics. for the longest time. And
Right.
I think he became such a political player in that respect.
Well, how did Paul do it? Do you remember how Paul do it? He was happy being number 2. Remember he said that? He was happy being number 2, meaning I want to stay under the radar because the minute I'm on their radar, they're gonna start messing with me.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean there was things like I remember when I was up in DC's offices one time when people, I think it was Time magazine, were trying to get through to him to talk about the death of Superman. And at the time, he just kept saying, well, put them through to the Batman editorial team.
Right.
And they're like, but they want to talk about Superman. Yeah, no, I know. Have them talk about Batman.
That's a gangster.
I mean,
Because he didn't want, it was like he'd realized that.
Didn't want to put his name on an article. No, I get
Well,
it.
it wasn't that. No, it wasn't that. It was another aspect to Paul that I noticed, which is, and I also noticed this with the way he would often move projects around. So if they'd had a really good year and there was that really good graphic novel or miniseries that was coming together that was going to come out in sort of like the fall, but they'd already had a really good year, he would push it off to the next because he was very conscious of, he was like, okay, I'm doing okay this year. I've met my targets already. I've got to push that project off to next year so that they don't, because they don't care about the projects. You know, all they see is, hey, last year you didn't beat last year,
right?
And that's the thing that Paul always had to make sure that I'm going to do just a little bit more. I'm never going to go down, but I'm never going to get. I don't want these big spikes,
right? Because once you have that big spike, they expect it all the time.
Oh,
yeah.
You
know, I will say though, while we're picking on corporate, the cool thing about comics is the people they do hire love comics. So we get a lot of great editorial ideas. We get a lot of great books that sneak out because there's so much passion with the people they hire. And that's the tough side, right? Because that's a side that sits there and goes, no, I'm not going to just do my job. I want this to be amazing. And I want this art to be amazing. And I want this book to, win awards. And so, as much as corporate does what corporate does, and that's their job, our creative editors and our creative people like Marie and like all these people, they kick ass trying to come up with new things and ideas and stuff. So there is a division there, but it's like any company. It's like it's any big corporation. You have the scientists that are trying to figure out everything and in love with science, and you have the people over them just saying, "Well, we need what, 4 billion more for that? All right, let's see how we can get 4 more billion." And that's how sadly, I mean, this goes back to the church funding Michelangelo. It's like, look, just paint that ceiling. Okay, yeah. I need it by next Tuesday. Paint that ceiling. Got this money allocated, and then somebody calls up the Pope and goes, "What's with that ceiling already? I want to use the church." And they're like, we threw him some extra money. Let's see if he can finish it up. It's been done since the beginning of time, so it's not really that.
It's my favorite story. It's my favorite story when Crusaders invented nylon and they discovered they could make nylon stockings. He went to the board of DuPont and said, "Look, it's great. It's unbreakable." And they said, "Cool. Now make it breakable."
Yeah.
Because we can sell more if it breaks. Isn't that great? I love this story.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
Well, I was having that discussion with my wife about cars. They used to make them to last, and now they make everything breakable. God.
I'll give you an example with cars. Look at the new cars and try to find the bumper.
There isn't any.
There's no more bumpers because when you get hit, we got to fix your whole front of your car. We used to have these extended bumpers that literally on that you can just smash into things, and you're like, "Oh, it's on my bumper." Now I scratch my bumper. They're like, to get that scratch out, I have to take the whole back of the
thing off.
And I'm like, damn it, they got me. They got me. So it comes down to money and greed and business and
all right, so we're talking money, business, and greed. So one thing that we discussed as an ICC team last week was the possibility of DC licensing characters. But Dave says they won't do the Trinity and they won't do certain A-listers and possibly B-listers. But do you see them maybe licensing any C-listers?
Well, I see them licensing as they do now some of the kids' books, right? And then I don't think that's going to be done for a while because the problem with licensing is control. So control issues are a big deal. So you're right. Like the main characters, there's no way. I can't, look, I'm the first guy. If they license characters, I'm going to license Power Girl and Jonah Hex.
As you should, man. My wife has the
just
whole
gonna-
Power Girl run.
I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think the plan is a little different. I think the plan is to establish the characters again from the ground up, and then do another year or two worth of product. It's what they do every couple of years. A lot of my books I did in the past were because copyrights were running out, like Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. Like they would.
That was great.
Thank you. But they would go to me, look, we have to put out a book with this title, Phantom Lady. Can you do a Phantom Lady miniseries? Can you do a Human Bomb? So a lot of that is business decisions, and then it's up to the creatives to say, I know you just want to put this out, but I really want to make a great book. And, so again, I don't know if the licensing is going to be something they do quickly. One day, maybe, but they license on so many different levels. Like publishing is one that, honestly, it's going to be tough to do because the amount of money you can ask for a comic license is going to be limited. It's easier to license Harley Quinn earrings and charge $50,000-$60,000 for somebody to make an earring with the Harley Quinn diamonds. It's a lot easier than licensing the character where you have to watch all the content. And
I think if they do, I think it's going to be more like, for the licensing aspect, last I heard, and it's probably changed, it's about 2 years ago, Warner Licensing made approximately $6 billion a year off the DC Comics licenses.
Yes.
That's $6 billion.
I'm guessing $1 billion, at least $1 billion was Harley.
This is, don't forget, this is like Warner Brothers. They'll put Harlequin's logo on slippers, on some girls' pajamas.
Everything they put Amanda's art on, and I get boxes of things.
Let me ask you, Jimmy, did you enjoy the Harley Quinn show?
The animated show?
Yes.
Yeah, I it's fantastic. They used one of my characters, Cy Borgman, in it. Amanda did a couple of drawings for the turnarounds, and then she did some environmental shots, but sadly that was all they used us for. So
how did you come up with Cyborg, man? My man, he kills me. That's one of the funniest characters in that show.
I grew up in Brooklyn, and
that was your landlord.
and Coney Island was part of my place I hung out, and there would be in a nice day, or even in the middle of winter, there'd be like 10 or 12 old Jewish guys in chairs sitting around hanging out, and I would walk by them and they would chat. But how you doing, kid? What's going on? They want to catch up and tell you stories, and I love those guys. And my dad had a little paint store, and in front of the paint store he had 4 chairs, and every day these older gentlemen would come and sit down and just sit there all day and tell stories. And my dad loved it. My dad, it was like looking at his parents, I guess. And
we need to make a movie like that, because if they'd done the barbershop series, it seems that those 4 chairs was the barbershop.
well, Cy Borgman was like, so, we put him in a wheelchair, obviously, with all the parts. And it was just a character I had bouncing around for a while. And then I had John Saballero, who's not in comics so much, but was a buddy of mine, did some drawings. And when we were doing Harley, I said, it'd be great if we can get a senior citizen superhero, because nobody does that. And, and of course we gave him perfect Yiddish. Like Amanda researched Yiddish like you wouldn't believe. So it's written in perfect Yiddish. And we just thought, why not? If we're going to put Harley in Brooklyn, why not go full Brooklyn?
And let me tell you, Jimmy, as a Puerto Rican from Brooklyn, being around Williamsburg, I kind of understand a lot of those Yiddish terms, which is funny. So I'm having a blast watching the show when he talks. I'm like, wow, I haven't heard that in a minute.
Well,
I'm in Florida now. So.
You'll appreciate the book. Actually, the book itself, actually, everything in the book is exactly perfect to the neighborhood in Brooklyn it's in. If you read the book, we cover every neighborhood and actual streets. And I said, when we set this in Brooklyn, I'm going to make it so if they go to Mill Basin, they're going to be in Mill Basin. If they're going to go to Flatbush, it's going to be. And we, Chad was drawing the book, and we would send them photos, and we'd say, the Belt Parkway is on the other side, so you have to flip the panel. Like, it was so crazy people thinking. But I think in the end, it helps the book in a way, because it grounded it for us. When she catapults towards the city, we actually figure how many miles it is and what angle she would have to be catapulted at. And we'd be laughing out loud, be going, it's ridiculous, but it helps us write. once we have the
No.
environment, it helps us write things, you know.
We need,
Listen, you
we
know
need
us
to have
New Yorkers
another.
are
We need
picky.
to have another book like Destroy by Scott McCloud. Do you remember that book?
Yes, I do. Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great one. Scott needs to draw more.
Yeah,
You
he
know?
does.
He does.
We need Zott back.
So
We do.
definitely.
Or anything new. I'll buy anything he does, pretty much.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So,
All right, so we're closing up into an hour, half-hour mark, and I definitely there's a lot more I want to talk. We got to talk to Jimmy about because, like I mentioned earlier, he's the Kickstarter king, right? And I know something that they wanted to talk about was that direct-to-market type situation, correct?
right.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously this has been a cluster of a year for everything on every single level.
Everything.
And
we blame Trump. We just blame Trump over here. It's easier.
The orange one is what I like to call him.
Yeah. But it's but we could deal with it, unfortunately. And so you've got the coronavirus, the stores shutting down, the fractured distribution now, and I've noticed a big increase. And for me, the only comics I've bought recently in the past. Actually, it's all this year has been on Kickstarter. I'm literally buying everything on Kickstarter now. Like that's they've got my money for comics now. So including yours, of course.
Thank you.
But it's I see more and more that it's I even see like companies like Image having a problem in the future in that. Unless there's a creator that just doesn't want to I just don't want to deal with that. Like you deal with that. I think the majority of people will probably, you do it yourself on Kickstarter.
I'm in the so I'm the guy that did 14 so far, and every comic pro in the past 6 months has come to me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a Kickstarter. How do you do this?" And I always send them back. Did you read about it yet or watch a video? Like, no. I'm like, okay, you have to do all these things and then come to me. I said, I'm not going to answer everything for you. But once I get to the point where I say you have to print the book, you have to package it, distribute it, sell it, go to the post office. That's when the glaze comes over their eyes. They're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man. I said, last week I had to mail out 1,000 boxes. I had to pack 1,000 boxes.
Ooh, damn.
And they're like, oh, no. And then they go, can you do my Kickstarter for me? And I'm like, no.
That's crazy,
No.
Jimmy. I mean, listen, bro.
They're like, well, I'll give you a percentage. I said, yeah, but I'm not in the business of packaging your package, So it deters a lot of people. It also, it's scary to some creators because they're not getting paid in advance, right? And, they have to hope it does well. Even as recently as Mark Chiarello, right? That was his one for the baseball thing, and Mark had a lot of questions and he did his research and he'll hit his mark by the end of it, but it's nerve-wracking and it takes a lot of, you have to be very in control of everything. You have to, it's work beyond what you see. It's not just a book. It's starting the campaign, mailing people, mailing Kickstarter, getting your credit cards lined up, your bank account lined up,
making sure you don't get hacked.
Well, that's even that's Kickstarter's problem. But but also the postage keeps going up, and with the last Kickstarter I had, people are still getting their packages, and I sent them out a month and a half ago. So
they're going to wait longer now.
That brings us back to Trump. That brings us back to Trump.
Yeah, well, he's whatever. We're not going to change anybody's mind about Trump. If they either love him or hate him, we're not going to change it. It's people in between I worry about,
Well, what I'm worried about is what's going on with the USPS and how no one is actually saying anything. Everybody's talking, but no one is taking action because this is some effed up stuff going on right now.
They're doing things. You'll see in the next. Hope so. You'll see in the next week or two. There's going to be.
I hope so.
More, But getting back to the Kickstarters, so a lot of guys want to do them, but they don't want to. They don't really want to work that hard, and it's a little scary for them. And you do have to put yourself out there with them, right? You have to sell your own product. You have to have social media. You have to have a name. If you don't have a name, then your product has to sell it, right? So it's a tough business. And, it's funny because I have, Pop Kill 3 and 4. Well, 3 is ready to go and 4 is being finished. but I have the sex and violence one after that, and I have 2 more after that. But I can't put them out until I deliver everybody's last book. I just feel weird that, I wouldn't do one on top of the other.
This is why I love paper films, brother. When I tell people, like, if you want to make sure that you're going to get something via a Kickstarter, support any Jimmy Palmiotti Kickstarter.
I appreciate that, Al.
My people here already know. I've been waiting, like, I think it's going on 6 years now for Rob Liefeld's Brigade. And I refuse to give up because I'll reimburse you. Like, no, I've been waiting long enough. I'm waiting for the damn book.
I was the first person that wanted Kickstarter to have a rating system. If you're a repeat Kickstarter person, I think people should rate you. In the 14 I've done, I've never had a person not be satisfied. Like, I will literally, I have one guy that I'm literally going to the post office on Monday, tomorrow, to get his package out with tracking because he keeps losing. It just doesn't get to him,
And you keep sending it out, though.
Yeah, I keep sending it out. I call him up. I even call him up and we talk on the phone, and I'm like, so where are you? Is your stoop maybe? Like, somebody taking it off your stoop? But my thing is, that's the grassroots nature of it, is you're also connecting with people. So most of my Kickstarters get funded in a day or two because it's usually the people that did the last ones right away go to the new one, and
loyalty, boy.
And then it hangs low. Like right now, it moves up a little bit here and there. I do your podcast. We get a couple of people, but it is a ton of work, and I can see where it's intimidating to people. Look, when I did the first one, nobody I knew was doing Kickstarters, right? There was no comic book people I knew doing.
Oh, really? You were amongst the first within your group?
Yeah. So I kind of read about it, and Queen Crab was the book I did, and I read about it, and I'm saying, I think I can make this work if I sell it to Image too. So I did the Kickstarter, and then I sold it to Image.
So what made you click, though, when you saw the Kickstarter process, start, and you said, what was the biggest appeal to you as a creator to say, oh, shit, I think I need to use this?
The biggest appeal was no editorial for me. Nobody could tell me I could do nudity, I could do violence, and which I pretty much do in every Kickstarter. And I could do any format I want. I could pick out the printing. I can pick out the paper. I'm a very tactile person, so when you get my Kickstarters, the paper's really good, and the
good stuff, really good. Beautiful covers, great paper, color and everything.
Real comic book people are texture people. It has to. I always say it has to feel like $20, or it has to feel like $30. Otherwise, you failed. If it feels flimsy, why would I pay $20 for that? So there's a certain things. I'm a consumer. And what helps is, too, my office is in a giant comic store. So,
where is this comic store? Because I'm in Florida. I'm trying to find all the spots.
It's in Clearwater. It's called Emerald City Comics. Al, if you make the trip, you just tell me, and I'll meet you. We'll grab some lunch.
Oh, all right, brother. Okay. Don't worry. As soon as this COVID is over, I want everybody to be safe.
This comic shop is as big as a supermarket. It's gigantic. And
but wifey's gonna have to hold my wallet.
Yeah, no, you're gonna lose all your money. So anyway, so the thing with the Kickstarters is, you're going to give the people what they want, and my thing is what they're not getting in regular comics is adult comics, and they're not getting, my new one, Pop Kill, is about competing soda companies and a male spy and a female scientist, and it's very James Bond, but with TNA and violence, and there's twin brothers, Siamese twin brothers that was separated, that they hate each other. It's crazy and over the top. Dave Johnson and I just went nuts on it. But again, visually it delivers, I think, and you'll know by your campaign if something people want it or not, pretty much. And that's what I like about Kickstarter too. If they really hate it, it's not gonna sell that well.
I'm sorry, people to cover it. I'm sorry, Chris, real quick. I'm sorry, people to covers, right? So you got this regular cover from Dave Johnson, right?
Yep.
But then, we're talking about TNA. We also have this naughty little cover here.
Dave. Yep.
It is gorgeous, man. Great work. That Fizz one. Ooh, you know what? I almost misread that with a J in front.
That's your problem to deal with, sir.
No, but that's great art, man. Dave Johnson.
Yeah, Dave.
So let's talk about Kickstarters, man. Though, what are great steps and stuff that you think that creators should take when it comes to Kickstarter? Real steps, because again, you deliver. So for me, you already just said it. You already have number 3 of Pop Kill and number 2 is not even over the campaign.
Right.
So is that pre-gaming absolutely 110% the most important part?
I don't do a Kickstarter unless the book's done. I don't believe in. Look, I'm already asking people to wait a month for the campaign, and then a couple of weeks for the printing and all that kind of stuff. So I don't believe in having people wait for 2 months or 3 months. I think they resent it after a while. We're a generation of, there's a reason there's a buy it now thing on eBay. You know what I mean? Some people can't even wait for an auction. They just have to get it right now. So I just think that that's a really important thing is to make sure you have it ready right away. And what I do is as soon as the money, because you have to wait 2 weeks with Kickstarter, they collect everybody's money. The minute Kickstarter sends me a thing says everything's been collected, I send the digital out.
Ooh.
So they have the digital book right away. I just think that I'm training my audience with 14 of these what to expect, and I think the expectations I put on myself, that's now my format. Other people leave people waiting for 6-8 months, and there's some great books coming, but you're going to have to wait a half a year. That's not how I work. I just don't. I want things when I buy them somewhat. So the Kickstarters, I just feel that's my way. Some people raise the money and do the book, and nothing wrong with them. Sean Murphy's one, he's working on it while, the Kickstarter ended, I think, but he's working on a book and you won't get it. He tells you you're going to get it the end of the year or next year. I can't remember what it was, but at least that going in, right?
Exactly. There's an answer, unlike me, almost 6 years in.
I think no, there's a lot of people who are upfront and say, hey, look, I need this much money to do this because I don't have money in the bank. So I've got to do it. But, conversely, I would say, don't do anything big. Do something smaller that you can produce in a small amount of time. Because as I'm sure you found, Jimmy, like if it's ready to go, that's the and if you want to do more, like if you can be that consistent person who's, because it's like we had a discussion before you joined us today. I was just talking with Al about the podcasts, and it's about frequency. It's about saying like we do one every 2 weeks and it's a certain time. And if I wake up in the morning and go, I don't really feel it today. No, well, you that's not how you grow anything.
Exactly.
So the only Kickstarter I've been involved in was I did a book called The Girl with No Name, and I packaged it for a client who was doing it. And I insisted that everything had to be completely finished. Like I was done on my end, all the artists, everyone was done on it before they launched the project. And it did very well, and and everyone's been super happy with it. I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way you can do it. And
it's the way I do it. Everybody's got different things. I mean, like certain guys need a check to come in to get motivated to draw. So everybody's different. I'm a guy that always has a digital component of the book because, like, I know in Europe it's expensive to ship something. So if I can tell somebody you can get the book for $5 in your mail, in your email, I want to make it available to everybody. I have in the last one we had Singapore packages going to Singapore. It's expensive just to send the book. It's really, and I tell the guy, I say, look, it's going to be this much, and it's almost costs more than the book, and they're like, send it. But I can't tell you how many sales I make to New Zealand or Australia or Europe that are digital. My digitals do very well, and it's $5. It's not the worst number, and because we do stretch goals, usually your $5 thing gets you 2 or 3 books because I hit the stretch goals and I make sure everybody digitally gets the extras as well. But it's really important to do that. I notice a lot of them don't have a digital level lately, and I'm like that's a huge mistake. You do. There is a huge audience. At least I get a couple of hundred digital orders, and that adds up. Right. Sometimes they buy it like $7 or $8. We do one with the script and the book, or sometimes they do a package like 4 books for $15, like 4 graphic novels. and people grab them because they're like, it's content. I read it on my iPad. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, so there's like different ways. I watch people do them. You know, there's the ones that make big money. You'll notice like mine always hit like a good amount, right? But there's ones that do 100, 150,000, the Brian Politos or the, you know, and they aim their campaigns at collectors. So they do 12 different covers and foil editions. I don't have the bandwidth to do that. Like I do 2 alternate covers, and they usually have nudity on them. One's always Amanda Connor, and this one's or Dave is the other one.
So let me ask though, with those covers and trying to hit the collector's market, at least do the variant issue, do you kind of limit the number of variants there are?
Not only are they limited, you can't get them anymore, right? So when you order them from our site, we only overprint enough that if shipping gets screwed up, we have copies, right? But we can't go back to print on these things because it's really expensive to do. So we print enough for the Kickstarter. We print extras for mail screw-ups. And then when people get these books, they're not only exclusive to the Kickstarter and very limited. They're 200 to 300 copies.
And first prints at that.
They're first prints, but Amanda also signs them all, right? And Dave also signs them. So they're getting a signed book, and we have this beautiful certificate of authenticity we put, and it has a holographic sticker on it that we scan it so we know where the book is. You know, so we know who bought the book, where the book is, and when it was sold. It's crazy, but that's us appealing to the collectors.
That's
and
good stuff.
People go to CGC things, and they have to have all that stuff, you know. So, you know, and actually, this Kickstarter we offered a bunch of CGC books because they're like around an hour from us. So we did a deal with them. If we bring you books, and we guarantee everybody an over 9.2. So
you just blow my mind.
Well, we
say CGC is local to us.
Well, I sent a bunch of books, and they're like, these are not going to hit 9.2. And I'm like, all right, hold on to them. I'll bring you some new books right out of the box. And I'm like, okay, how about these? And they're like, those are 9.6, 9.8. I'm like, yes, you know. It's just a collector's thing, but I do it limited. This is the first time we did it, and we sold all the Amanda ones. We sold all of the Dave ones, and we still have a couple left for the regular.
So let me ask you, because I have a great speculator on the team. It's Lucas Fashina, aka Dark Horse 305. He has a show that he does on the side called It's Drunken Chat on Instagram with Mo V and some other fellas. But it's all about speculation. I mean, these guys go through the night. Like, if you grab a beer and all they do is chat comics and speculation.
Right.
So, you know, folks like that would definitely appreciate it. But what made you do the CG step? Was it really just, you know, was there something that somebody mentioned to you like, hey, you know, can you offer a CGC version?
Well, okay, so they're great people. I don't know if you ever met any of the CGC or had them on the show. They love comics. So I had a couple of books in mind, CGC. They have them back here. And, you know, we went down to their offices, and you can't believe how big this place is and how big their safes are and how crazy the place is. It's amazing. And when we do cons, Amanda and I sit there, and people always send like a CGC guy, you know, to stand and witness us signing, and then they get their books. And, you know, I used to say, well, you can't read the book, or if you put it in there, you know, I used to have this brain that said, wait, why are you doing this? But now I get it. Most of the people doing that are like, they're the other part of the comics, the guys that want to buy and sell and trade and collect. They want something in the best shape. They've read this comic a million times, but they want a perfect one for their wall, like Dave's wall behind them. You know, if it was CGC things, it would make sense too. You know, so we just thought it was kind of fun, and it's kind of. I'll show you. I had a couple done the other day. So, you might laugh at them because they're not the most like. They're not really, you know, people got to kill themselves to get them, but it's an old Superman Adventure Comics with Supergirl.
But that's a beautiful cover, though. Look at that.
The key in the hole, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's an 8.5, which means it's in good shape. But that was in my regular collection. And then I had a Legion of Superheroes, an old one.
Really cool.
I think that's like 1964. So that was before most everybody except for me was born. Dave, I don't know how old you are, Dave. How old are you?
About the same as you.
Oh, I'll just say that I was still swimming in my father's nutsack at that year. So.
Well, hopefully it wasn't like it's a lot of swimming if it was years. I don't know.
I came out as an old soul for a reason.
We try new things with the Kickstarter. We have like a mystery box thing that we do, and I have a couple left. And pretty much what I do is you get all the books signed, all the different covers signed and everything. And we get a postage box and we fill it with stuff. So old comics, T-shirts of mine, stuff people gave me. I think I put a watch in one and some,
a Rolex, really?
Like I was laughing because as I cleaned the house, I put stuff in the boxes. So I found this in one of my many things I was cleaning, and it's a Spider-Man coin. It's a
that's fire though. I like that shit.
Limited edition mint coin of Spider-Man. I don't know. It's numbered and it has a little number certificate. It's kind of corny, but
cool.
Nah, bro, I'm gonna collect that at heart. I love all of this.
And I just get this and I throw it in one of the boxes. Like I fill the box up and I send out 20 of them. And it like people have, if you look online, there's people unboxing them and opening them and going, "What the hell is this?" And
that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
But that's what we offered an art one this time. So and that one sold out right away. But what we do is we just have like all these like I have a ton of postcards by Dave Johnson drew,
Oh, nice. Check that out.
Cool.
And then I have some Amanda drawings. I have some drawings I did. And the art, we just stick random art in it with all your books. So people open it and they're like, what the hell is in this? So we're trying to make them a little fun because we know people love to open up packages. That never goes away,
I'm upset right now. I'm an ass because I actually have something that I bought only because you did it.
Right.
22 Brides, the first appearance of Painkiller Jane.
Yeah.
I only got it because of you, bro. I said, "Damn, this is Jimmy P's right here."
OG.
Man. I got that put away.
95. That's 95.
And I have it in mint. At least for me, I hope that CGC would say it's at least a 9 point something, because I took taking care of that baby.
I hope you still have all your Ash books lined
I do. I have a stack of them because I think we're going to start scanning them and make them. We don't have film. We don't have film for them. So
are we going to get anything on Ash in the future? What do you think?
So
is that a possibility?
So we have Painkiller Jane and Ash were her main characters. Joe's like, if we do anything with Ash, I have to be involved. Jane, you always love Jane more. Do anything you want with Jane. So I wait for Joe, is what I say. One day when Joe's not so busy, we'll probably do a new Ash book. I told him, I said, I'd love to reprint just #1 with a new cover by him and I. That would be kind of fun just to get out there.
Wow.
Yeah, man, and reinvigorate the blood and make my copy that much more pricey.
He's a busy dude. I don't know if you know that. He's pretty busy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And a shout out, Lucas is actually listening, and he's like, "You better always get that certificate of authenticity."
Yeah. Well, the paper films, we have a site called paperfilms.com, and every book you buy that's signed by us or anything, you get the certificate in it, and we mail it to you within a week. You usually get it within a week or two. So we do a lot of. I'm in the office probably twice a week. I have my buddy Patrick, and usually weekly we figure out what orders came in, and then we box it all up, and then we bring it to the post office. So it's our weekly thing we do.
It's right there all on the bottom. You can follow Jimmy on Twitter, on Instagram, and obviously the website. Right there, paperfilms.com, which is some awesome stuff. Because Jimmy, you're so active. You share the love. It's fantastic. So what's a good piece of advice though for creators just wanting to step into the realm, being that you're so successful in your space?
Don't be a dick.
Simple.
Don't tell people on the internet what you don't like. Don't spend time diving into somebody's love and telling them that you don't like it.
I saw that tweet from you this morning. There was that whole thing about like, why ask people what you don't like? Why not just ask them what you like?
Yeah.
Right. Don't talk bad about other creators. If you don't like somebody's art, don't attack them. Just find somebody you do like and talk about them. You got to remember, everybody doing the art is trying really hard. Somebody worked for hours on a piece of art you don't like. Why would you want to make them feel worse about it, that they don't have the talent level that you want to see? It doesn't make people grow. It just makes people angry and not want to draw.
Exactly. And then it starts this awful conversation that could, spin sideways, and it's gonna hurt everyone at the end of the day.
Well, no,
and it kind of sucks.
There's so many creators who, unfortunately, they'll click and they will actually look for bad reviews. Like, they can't help it. They just look for bad reviews. And once they've found one, or they see someone tag, even when they tag them, like someone tags them on Twitter just to say they didn't like it.
I get tagged all the time. Somebody's like, I can't stand Harley, and they tag me, and I'm like, okay, go out and get a sandwich. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
exactly. What do you want me to do? Go get a red and white sandwich somewhere.
I like to look at art. I like to look at people being creative as their 10-year-old kids drawing or writing. Would any adult in their right mind tell them, boy, that sucks and that's terrible? Right? Mm-hmm. You don't do that to children because you want children to keep trying and grow. Why is it different when they hit 20 or 30? I mean, some people just move differently with their talent and what they're learning. So I try to look at everybody as like a kid, and if it helps a little bit, put a little birthday hat. Imagine a birthday hat on them, so it's their birthday. So on their birthday, you're not going to be nasty to them. They're going to say, I want this. And you go, hey, it's your birthday. Here you go. I think that's the way we got to do it. And it all comes down to slowing down and having integrity. If you type it, look, we've all done it. We type something and we don't send it. We're like,
I'm very guilty of that shit.
Well, we go back and delete it a minute later or whatever we do. We can't edit it on Twitter, right? Facebook.
Exactly. That's what stops me. Thank God that Twitter doesn't have edit. I would send shit out and they probably fix it afterwards. But because it doesn't have an edit button, I do stop myself because, I'm a Latino that has an independent website that covers everything comics. I mean, everything. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's a celebration of love. Comics are for everyone. Yeah. And if you don't like what's out there, that's fine. There's something out there for you in the independent universe. Yeah. What I feel, Jimmy, between you and me is like, people want to force DC and Marvel because those are the bigger brands to do what they want. But dude, you don't have to force them anything. The independent universe is full of all this great stuff that you are actually looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sit there, somebody telling me I love this book. I wouldn't sit there and go, that book sucks. Like, why would I do that to that person? It's so.
Tell me why it's good.
Well, the internet's interesting because it's causing a lot of people to grow up quicker, a little bit. And then there's the people that dig deep. Look, there's a certain group of comic people that want to be negative, that want to call people names, and want to call people out.
And I've been attacked by them just because I've shared things that they don't feel comfortable with. But you know what? Not everything's going to be made for you because there's so many communities.
But like any group, not everybody's the same level of things. And I just try to look at them. I just ignore them, or I just tune it out a little bit. It's sort of like my neighbors are listening to music that I don't like. I'll just turn my music up a little bit. It's life's too short. I'd rather spend time, spreading the love, or at least. Look, I'm very political. You guys know that I'm very political on my
social
media, because I'm a little outraged by everything, and
as you should be. We all should be angry right now.
It's difficult not to be.
Yeah, and we grew up with this very sense of right and wrong, even though it gets blurred as we get older. But I always tell people, if you don't like my politics, you don't have to follow me. It's okay. I won't take it personally. Look, I have people that go out of their way telling me they didn't like something I did. And sometimes I engage. I go, well, what didn't you like? And they're like, well, I didn't like this and that and that. And I said, oh, sometimes I go, you might want to read it again because I think you skipped the page because it's all. I had that with reviews too. They'll review something, they like, it makes no sense. And then I'll go, can you go back and read page 5? And then they write me back, I'm changing my review. I guess I didn't look at it the first time. I'm like, it's all good, buddy. I'm cool with it. Your review is your review. It's funny. Yesterday, somebody was writing me because the Random Acts of Violence movie is out on the 20th on the Shudder Network, and it's based on a book I did with Justin Gray.
Oh, congrats! And I didn't know. I'm writing this down because I gotta watch that.
Yeah, so it's a horror movie. It's like a slasher movie. It's violent. It's Jay Baruchel directed it, and
say word.
I'm a horror fan, bro. Producer on it, but whatever. But
why did you call me, Jimmy? If you needed a Puerto Rican dead body in the film, I'm your man.
It's gonna be specific. I need a Puerto Rican dead body. Get this Irish body out of here. You
kill everybody. Diversity.
some guy, wrote me his whole, thing. I didn't like the movie because of this and that. And I'm like, what? I said, I said, it's art, right? I said, we both look at the same painting and see something different. It's all good. Thank you for seeing it, is what I always say.
Yeah.
Thanks for seeing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for reading.
I'm not going to change your opinion of it. Guys, believe me, I love the Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey movie. Some people hated it. Some people really hated it, and they never saw it.
Yeah.
And some people had a lot to say about it that never saw it.
Yeah.
And I talked to the director and some of the people involved, and we're like, yeah, it's amazing how there's so many knowledgeable opinions of something they didn't experience.
Yeah.
It's like me reviewing the Grand Canyon if I never been there. I don't know about that place. It's
Right, who cares about that big hole on Earth in America? Jesus.
But-
Let me tell you though, I like Birds of Prey though. I enjoyed it because I found myself laughing a lot. So I find it very humorous. You know what I mean? Action. Some women were just being totally kick ass. So if you as a dude felt the type of way about that, then look in the mirror, something wrong with you.
I can watch Margot Robbie do laundry and I'd be fine. Or
Yeah, you and me both, bro.
or build a boat. I'd watch her.
Yeah.
But it did what it did, and I loved it. Some people didn't. Who cares? It's all good.
And it's nice though because Black Canary blew up from that. Black Canary blew up from that, and she's going to get opportunities. I hope.
Yeah.
To do a Black Canary film.
Yeah, it's all right. We wouldn't have shows like this if people didn't have opinions. So it's okay.
Absolutely, man. I'm digging your energy, Jimmy. This is why again, as I said prior, thank you for being one of the first believers in Comic Crew. You do send a very positive message. So what if you get political? You're expressing your opinion because there's so much shit out here going on, and a lot of people aren't talking about it. You know what I mean? So kudos to you for having the courage. Because that's kind of part of it too. Because a lot of people don't want to talk about things just because of the fact that, hey, I'm going to get chastised or this, that, the other.
I do.
But having the courage, bro, do it.
Well, I do have comic pros ask me all the time, do you think you're alienating a part of your audience with your politics? And I'm like, I don't know, and I don't care. It's whatever. It is what it is. I mean, either they like the books or they don't. If they're buying the books for me and they don't like my politics, then they don't have to buy it. It's okay. It's all right.
I'm so different. Yeah. I tell wifey all the time, it's like I'm one of these people that are very easy to separate the person from the artistry.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you have I'm gonna go. I love hip hop. I think Kanye West is one of our greatest.
You say hip hop?
Hip hop.
Oh, okay. I think you said
hypno house too, though, bro. All right, I'm all about music, but look, Kanye West, right? People don't like his personality or what he talks about. But let's get real though. When it comes to production and music, he's a very gifted musician. You know what I mean? So I separate the two. I think he's crazy sometimes, yeah. But when it comes to his music, I love it. I love his music.
I think you have to. I think you have to be able to separate. I mean, you can't just this whole thing about just deleting people because
I don't like
you don't like who they voted for. You don't like that they don't like the same.
Do you know the origin of cancel culture though? Do you know the origin of the word cancel?
Well, I don't like cancel anything because that means people aren't redeemable.
But do you know where it comes from?
No, I don't.
No? Okay. I want you guys to watch.
Did you make it up? You made it up.
No, Nino Brown made it up. New Jack City, Wesley Snipes. Oh. There was that scene when he wanted some girl that was talking a lot of nonsense about his business, and his boy was told him, and Nino Brown's words were, cancel that bitch. So the word of canceling someone actually derives from that movie, New Jack City.
Right. There you go.
Interesting.
If you believe in people going to jail and coming out and being rehabbed and getting their life back, which I do. I think sometimes people screw up.
People could change, man.
And they do change. They get help, and we have to celebrate when these people deal with what they have to deal with head on and get the help they need and come back as new people and understand what they did and, has to have the weight of what they did. We can't just cancel them because then it's just not a very good thing to do. It's sending a horrible message. It's sending, should you kill yourself because you did something, some guy did some crime because it's whatever it may be, right? His situation was shitty. He goes to jail. He goes to therapy. he makes himself he realizes what he did. He comes out and he says, I want a new life. If he did the time, I always feel like you have to be supportive of people. If you have a friend that's an alcoholic and did stupid things and they're 10 years sober, you can't treat them like that, the person that did the things when they were alcoholic anymore, but you can discuss it. They have to acknowledge it. They can apologize and all that kind of stuff. But we have to be a little bit more forgiving if the person is genuinely sorry. And that's,
I agree.
I think, I think if you've got people come from different communities where you grow up in a family and a community where certain things are acceptable, and then you sort of go out of that community, so maybe go to university, and all of a sudden you're really exposed to something like, wow, no, that isn't really acceptable at all.
right.
There's also that sort of thing. You've got people who go to jail. I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but like, just say, look, weed. Like, why are there people in jail for 25 years or more for smoking?
Right, for a dime bag.
No, it's
for a dime bag.
It's ridiculous because other states it's legal. Let's be honest. Anyone. I mean, honestly, everyone that's in jail that got busted for a bag of weed needs to get out of jail today.
Right now. That's some bullshit.
And their records clean, because
Absolutely.
I mean, but like I said, the society. So the internet's not as forgiving, right? And and they kind of, there's a certain amount of people they get like was it dopamine when they get like this like thrill out of somebody's, bad, something happening to somebody, and
that's so crazy, right?
Well, but
the human mind is insane.
It's also that they convict somebody, quote unquote, without any facts. There was this thing going around that Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg on Justice League, he accused Jeff Jones of being a mean guy, and immediately everybody said, "Yeah, Jeff Jones is a mean guy," and without any evidence, without knowing anything about the circumstances. I hate that. That makes me angry. That stuff makes me angry. If you did something, okay, that's you need to deal with it, but bring the facts first, and then you can have an opinion about it.
There's a lot of troubling things, like people, like they talk about COVID and 160,000 Americans died from it, and some people it just goes whoop, over their head, like there's no sense of these people. And I said, imagine every newspaper printed an obit of everyone that died that day, and you had to stick that obit in front of you and flip the pages and see people. It would hit you differently, so we grow up like distancing ourselves from any kind of pain and distancing ourselves, and you can't be 100% connected with everything either, because it's emotionally draining, so it's just very interesting. The culture is very interesting. A lot could be said about it. I have a million different opinions, because I just think everybody's different. Everyone's grew up differently.
Yes.
That's what makes an interesting writer, by the way, is analyzing, looking at, writing a bad guy who, for me, I always say the bad guys are bad for a reason. I have to figure out why they're bad, right?
But what's bad?
And what is
It changes over time. It changes over time. I mean, how you look at a certain person, how you if you read a book from 20 years ago and there's somebody talking about a female character, today you notice that is wrong. The way to talk about this character, there is change.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote 105 issues of Jonah Hex, and only one story I had where an Indian went crazy. He actually went crazy because he was protecting this one area, and he lost his mind. But I never did like the cowboy and Indian thing in my book, because I was like, okay, I have to respect that. We kind of steamrolled in and destroyed all these people, and I'm not going to spend another minute dissing these people in my books.
I hope you saw John Leguizamo's History of Latino Culture on Netflix. I mean, you're right. I mean, he blew my mind. Me as a Latino, I didn't know how really fucked up shit was. Like, wow.
I think for me it helped. I went to High School of Art and Design.
I learned a lot.
And we, it was just, we didn't see color. We saw stupidity. Like, that guy's a jerk.
Yeah, see, exactly. Jimmy, you and I are we grew up in this very ethnic pot, if you will. We're all so many diversity. We didn't see that. But me coming down to Florida, or even living in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, like my daughter, I think I didn't go to high school in Massachusetts, for example, because I think I would have been arrested. You know what I mean? For beating up so many people, because my daughter was bullied, because she was different. We lived in the community, and let me tell you how bad this was. The community was 0.10 POC. So imagine what she went through. As a Puerto Rican, they're asking her if she ate tacos. I'm like, what are you talking? What is this shit? You're so stupid. You know what I mean? My family didn't tell me this because I would have went to the high school.
Does she eat tacos though? She eats tacos.
We all, she goes, we eat that. We have sazon. I want her to be proud of that shit, boy. Like, we eat everything.
Look, when I was younger, I went out with a girl and her family was Irish, and her dad went up to me and he goes, "Are you connected to the mob?" Like,
you connected?
Like literally at the dinner table, and I just looked at him and I just sat there and I said, "Maybe."
I would have said, "You want to find out, bro?" I would have been kicked out. I would have held that plate.
But a lot of people grow up with these stereotypes thrown around them, and they don't know. I mean, I went to a Catholic school for the first 8 years, and boy, they were racist and they were horrible. Some of the priests would tell Jewish jokes, and I'd be like, "What is going on here?" It was so crazy. And I think, the culture is just crazy. I mean, I was so happy when I went to high school. It was just mixed, and it was just regular people. We actually, because it was an art high school, it was based everybody. Either you were a jerk or you were a great artist and a jerk. But one of my classmates was Mark Texera. I don't know if you know that.
Let me tell you, he pissed me off, Jimmy. He pissed me off because one day I go to a Comic-Con in Boston.
Does he still owe you a piece of artwork?
No, not that he owes me art, but rather I went to talk to him, and not once did he pick up his head to acknowledge my existence, that I was there with my daughter next to me.
Was he drawing?
He was drawing something, but give me a moment and just pick up your head to say hi.
I'm gonna help you out, Al. I'm gonna get rid of that. So Mark hyper focuses.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of times when he's drawing, he not only doesn't know you're there, he doesn't hear you on some level.
So I'm just invisible. I'm just some body.
I live with a person that has the same thing. When Amanda is drawing, you could be on fire in front of her, and you could be talking to her, and at some point you look up and go, "Oh, hi, I didn't know you were there."
Oh my God! God forbid Jimmy's ever on fire and he dies that way because of a drawing.
she like Mark is like her. They hyper focus on what they're doing, so none of this exists, and that's why Amanda doesn't do sketches at cons, because she'd be drawing, and then people would be talking to her, and then she'd look up and go, "Oh, hi," and they'd be like, "I was talking to you for 5 minutes," and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was like."
Okay. You know what? That's the best explanation I got, because Joe St. Pierre did not help me very much with that. Because was he drinking the night before? I'm like, what the hell do I know?
No, I'll ask Tex. I'll see if I can get Tex. Al, I'll see if I can get Tex to come on.
Yeah.
Please, man. I mean,
he is such a great guy.
Me growing up in the 90s, his Ghost Rider was my shit. You understand me? He
was a sweet guy. At my first job at Marvel
and Union
was doing his backgrounds on Ghost Rider 6 on. So
say word.
If you look at like Ghost Rider 6, 7, 8, and 9, you'll notice every truck in the background is Palmiotti pickles or Palmiotti. I my name everywhere.
Are we gonna get Palmiotti pickles one day though?
No. I only deliver the one person now. That's what the ring's for. So.
Man, that's awesome. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say, I just got a message from Bill Sienkiewicz to say hello to Jimmy and Amanda.
Excellent. Hey,
Bill.
Shout out to Bill, man. Let me tell you, when I was a little kid, I didn't appreciate Electra too much. But as I got older, I fell in love.
Should I give him the Electra?
I did ask him. He said yes.
Yeah. Bill can come on anytime.
He said he will. He said he will.
So Amanda used to be Bill's assistant.
Oh, really? Jimmy, that's another thing here. What's your origin story in getting into the business?
I was going to try to find. So in Electra Assassin, if you look at the last like 10 or 12 pages, Electra is Amanda. Because Amanda posed for Electra.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Very
Oh
interesting.
man, so you're married to Alexa, you lucky
Oh,
dog.
yeah, she has those things too. She's a brown belt, so she.
Oh, word? You better not fuck around, bro. I don't want to hear
Yeah.
Jimmy got
Can
side.
absolutely kick my ass.
Good side.
But Bill, you know, she's known Bill forever. And actually, when I worked in advertising, one of the jobs we had, we did movie posters for Malpaso, which was Clint Eastwood's company. And when I left, one of the last hires was Bill Sienkiewicz to do the Unforgiven poster. I don't know. So we both.
So you got him that gig.
Yeah. So we both have a history with Bill. We've known Bill for a long, long time. One of the sweetest, most generous guys in comics. He's a wonderful guy, and there's nobody that can come close to how the guy can literally paint and draw with any tool known to man, even a shovel and the guy can do anything. Like he's like frightening. You know, we love him. We adore him. Yeah.
Well, you tease everybody with the Unforgiven. Let me just show it off real quick. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, it's Bill.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't that sexy, guys? Look at that. Look at that.
It's a very unusual.
You can just frame it.
Yeah, it's an unusual Clint Eastwood poster because if you look at every one of his movie posters, his face is straight there, boom, big. You know, that one he has his back to us, and that's very unusual for a Clint Eastwood movie.
Okay, all right, but here we go. You know, I'm gonna give you what you're asking for, Jimmy, because this is what we do. Right there, this is what you're talking about. Look at that.
Yeah, these were comps Bill did. Bill did a bunch of comps that. So when you do design a movie poster, you design like 20 or 30.
Oh damn!
Ideas, and then Clint Eastwood picks out which ones he wants.
Oh really? That's how the process is. So that's another thing to learn. There you go, folks. If you're an artist out there trying to do movie posters, so you say do about 20 different pieces.
Yeah. You have to come up with different ideas, and he's the final because it's his company. He was the final guy that would pick them. You know, he'd say that one for Japan, this one for US.
Did you get to meet Clint, man?
What's that?
Did you get to meet Clint?
I've been in the same room as him.
Oh shit! Awesome, bro. I mean, listen, bro. I'm a Dirty Harry fan. All those spaghetti westerns. Like that's my dude. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people say John Wayne. No. My cowboy is Clint.
Where Eagles Dare is one of my favorite movies, and he's in it with Richard Burton. So if you never saw that, Al, that's when you have to track down Where Eagles Dare with Clint Eastwood.
Eagles Dare. That's it, brother. You're murdering me.
Watched it since he was a kid over and over. So
isn't that like with Richard Burton?
Yep.
Thank you. You're making me feel like the youngest person on the team. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you are.
This is amazing, Jimmy. I love your energy. Thanks for that knowledge. You know, thank you, Bill, for actually watching and tuning in and listening to the International Comics Crusaders. This has been great and hopefully educational for everybody. But again, I'm sharing the Kickstarter down here, right? I'm also going to share, us right here. Make sure you, follow Comic Book Industry Podcast, or rather the ICC on CC. Follow our podcast network. Follow the Comic Crusaders. Come on, we're all over the place. You know what I mean?
I need a bouncing ball to go.
Apparently, right, bro? You're doing it, man. You're doing it, kiddo.
We'll get Chris to sing it.
In German.
Yeah.
In German,
right.
yeah.
So
I should move with the type. Wait,
get me drunk first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you a bottle or something, brother. Don't send me. So let's talk about Jimmy's Pop Kill #2 real quick, right? So again, let me share this image so you folks know that this is where you see this, you're at the right place. Yes. All right?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's what's fire right there. And so right now, Palmiotti and Johnson's Pop Kill #2, which is an adult comic book, is currently at $47,000 with 12 days to go. So Jimmy,
yes,
if let's say for example you surpass 50,
right,
within these 12 days, is there any new extras?
Yeah, they get. So if we hit 50, everyone gets a digital graphic novel.
Oh my God!
Another book, not that, but another one of my books. We haven't decided which one yet, but I have a couple in my library, so they get that automatically in the digital. And yeah, I mean we're happy with it.
I want people to take a look at the campaign
story. I don't think people can understand. I think you can get I think it's only a digital copy on this one, but you still can get issue 1 on this, can't you?
No, yeah, you can get the digital copy of 1 and 2, or you can get a paper copy of 1 and 2. So there we have the 50K. Now I had dreams, right? 80K, you could actually get issue 3, so you don't have to pay a dime more. If we hit 80K, you would actually get all of issue 3. So you'd get issue 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So you know what? Now that you said it, people are going to support this. So you should be able to get to that. You got 12 days to go. The book looks beautiful. Look, with a $5 pledge, like he said, right here, look, digital copy. Just with that. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Look at this art. With $7, you get to see the wrinkled book.
Script. You get a digitally wrinkled script.
I look too, man. For the author, what made you come up with that?
Yeah, so this you get a bundle of books. So you get 3 other trade books with your first and second copy for $15.
15. Look, folks, I'm showing you the deals here. For $20, you get the signed.
And I sign all of them. I am the guy that signs everything. So my signature is worth around 4 cents at this point. But
and here, the collectible. Look at that. 200.
That's 200 of Dave's cover. We take those black bars off when you buy it.
Oh, really? So we're gonna see some
you actually lick them off. They're on the book, and you lick them off.
Does it taste like anything? Does it taste like strawberries?
Tastes like Dave Johnson.
I don't want to taste no man.
Where's the scratch and sniff come up?
No, we don't have that. But this is one. So this is you get 1 and 2, both signed by me. Both come with a certificate. Plus, you get all the digital rewards with it as well. So there's a whole package.
And then you get an Amanda Connor naughty cover. They don't even tease this one. What's going on here?
The first one was a handful. Amanda goes out of her way to make the most rude, kind of fun stuff. The tone of Amanda's work is fun. She has and I think Dave will understand this. She's like the Betty Page of comic art.
Gotcha.
She can get away with full nudity and nobody gets really offended at it because there's this kind of a playful thing about her work.
Yeah, but that's Amanda, man. Again, follow her on Amanda Rants a lot on Twitter. Amazing. So what's popping here, bro?
Retailers, but I never get anybody backing it because I figure retailers, they get 6 for $80. They can charge whatever they want for them, and they're all signed.
Oh, shit, that's a fucking deal.
So if you're a retailer, you can get, even if you charge $20, that's $120 right there. You can even charge more, right? Because it's a limited thing. But I never get anybody ordering. I only had like a store in Canada order one.
All right, so Jimmy, Lucas, if you're listening, this is something we need to add to our shop. And not just that, but my local shop here in Orlando, Epic Comics, don't sleep. And even to my Massachusetts shops, there was 2 of them. Rubber Chicken Comics with Jay Pirella, and then I got my man Ernie at Friendly Neighborhood Comics. Guys, $80, you get some signed copies of Jimmy P's new book. Come on, don't sleep.
Don't sleep. Yeah.
So what's this right here? Complete cover.
I'm surprised that more retailers, considering the amount of creators that are moving to Kickstarter and doing projects now. I'm so surprised retailers aren't, just coming in and just.
Yeah, I think they fight it a little bit. We want to make money for the retailers. We don't want to. That's why I always offer a group package because I want retailers to kind of say, okay, well, let me get 5 of these and see if I can sell them over time. And it's just, we'll get to that eventually. We'll get to the point where people figure it out. And then, so this is one where you get issue 1, and then you get issue 2. And you get issue 1 guaranteed like 9.6 and above.
Nice.
And they grade it so it's a signature series, so it's signed by me. And they give it a yellow banner on the top, which is a more expensive thing to get at CGC. And they do it exclusively for us. So
really, check that out.
So we only have I think there's only 10. How many of them? I think 10 or 20. I'm not sure. And that's it. So you can't do that otherwise. They're doing it right for us for this. So
holy shit.
Great.
And then
we got this.
That's one sold out already. That's
gone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's gone. That's issue 1. That was Dave's cover minus all the little black bars.
I was about to ask, no black bars, right? Because my goodness.
But they grade them for us, and we also did the Amanda one. If you slide down, you can kind of see there's some more sensitivity.
Oh, that's very naughty right there, boy.
Yeah, that's a little butt sticking up.
That's the devil's threesome, man.
That's the guy's butt right there sticking up in the foreground.
Oh man, it's a foursome. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well,
Is she the pro or what's going on?
maybe. And then this is the mystery box. We only have a couple of these left. That's where I pack up. You get all the books signed, all the covers, and then we fill the box up with a bunch of stuff that is worth at least double what you're paying. I mean, I've stuck weird things. I've stuck stuff in there you wouldn't believe, and I stick some old books in there sometimes, some artwork in it. We put everything and anything. Sometimes our badges, we have signed badge from San Diego, we'll throw it in there. You know,
that's nice.
It's a great idea.
I have boxes that we just keep filling up, and then when the Kickstarter is done, we separate them and make sure everybody gets something cool. You know,
that's amazing.
I went through all my old 1980s rock T-shirts already, so everybody got those already.
Ah, shit, we're not gonna get no cool rock shirts, man. No old school Metallica tour.
I put DVDs and games and stuff in them too. And then
wait, you said rock bands. Hold on, before we go to this step, what's your go-to rock band?
Oh, I am a music nut, so I don't have one. I honestly am one of these people that has like thousands of albums.
You're like me, everything in every genre.
I like everything. I like soundtracks. I love John Barry, rock and roll. I kind of like my 80s rock. I like Blondie, and I like a lot of the 80s stuff, Police and stuff like that. And then I have all my weird music I listen to. But so this is Dave's mystery box. It's sold out, but Dave is going to fill it up with Dave things, and he's only did 10 of them. But they sold
and
out.
White Devil Pig.
That's his nickname. Yeah,
his identity.
We all have
you dirty dog, you.
And then this is the mystery one. You see some of the postcards, and we sold those out right away. Those are the first things to sell. We'll do it for the third one too when the time comes. But we make sure everybody like gets it and goes, "Holy shit! This is like much more than we thought we'd get." Kind of thing.
This is amazing, folks. Please support this amazing project. I mean, 12 days left. Let's make sure that Jimmy could get to even all these gold over here.
If we get to 80, we're gonna just print the third issue. So we're gonna, I doubt we'll get to there. I've never gotten that high at a Kickstarter.
What happens if you get to 90? You're gonna share nail clippings so they could
90, I'm gonna come back on this show in a dress.
Yo, wait a minute. If that shit happens, bro, if that shit happens, let me know your size. I'll send you a nice move.
We hit 90, and I would come back on this show as Jimmy with a Jimmy.
Oh man! Woo. Don't start voguing now.
Or Kimmy Palmiotti.
Kimmy's okay.
This is great. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please support this amazing project because Jimmy does deliver the goods. Again, I've been waiting for 6 years for somebody else, but when I supported Jimmy project,
somebody else.
As soon as it's over, a couple of weeks later, I got it in my mailbox and I'm reading it.
Who the somebody else was? You don't have to.
Mr. Liefeld, I don't mean to shit on you, Rob. I love you, Rob, but this is why I don't give up on you. I want my damn book, though.
I got books from Rob. I backed one of his Kickstarter. I got my books.
Wait, you telling me you got the Brigade book in your hands now?
Oh, I don't know which book it was. I don't remember, but I backed.
That was the last one he did. That again 6 years ago. So unless it's older than 6 years, that means you got Brigade before me. Only because you're Jimmy P.
I don't know. I just got these. They look great. They're not here. I have them in my office, but
oh man, please.
Maybe it was an older one. Maybe it was some.
Bro, if you got the Brigade, please share the picture because I need to even know what it looks like.
If I do, I'll send you one of my copies. If I do.
Al, you have to Google it. Google it. See if it exists.
No, I don't want to Google it. I want somebody that actually has it to show me it. You laugh about it. I'm serious.
What happened when you asked Rob where it is? What happened?
Well, he asked if you want a refund, let me know. And that's not an answer. That's not an answer.
Well,
that's
it's
not
a
an
choice,
answer.
though. It's a choice.
It's a choice, but it's not an answer. I want the book, and I've been very adamant about that.
It's not the answer you want.
Exactly, not the answer I want because I want the book. So you tell me.
But technically, he did answer you.
He did. He did. Listen, I give him credit where credit's due. I don't hate the guy. I'm just a little upset. I'm still waiting because I've been spoiled by you. You spoiled me, Jimmy.
It's actually an answer of love you gave him. You said, "You stuff. I want your book."
Yeah, I want it. God damn it! Let me tell you.
Rob can come on the show anytime.
Yeah, definitely, and I'll still share the love because I saw him at New York Comic Con last year, and And my friend that I was with looked at me, knowing the story. He goes, "I dare you ask him about the book." I said, "Nah, I'm not going to ruin this New York
He'll
Comic
deliver
Con."
it. I think he'll deliver it. I have positive
I know he will.
for Rob. Rob loves his audience. I think he'll deliver it.
I'm a positive person. I try to keep positive on everything, so I know he will. He's not going to,
he might come to your door, Al. He might ring your bell and say, "Here."
Yeah.
If he does that, I'll give him the biggest fucking hug in the world, bro. Let me tell you right now.
Rob, come get a hug from Al.
Yeah, bro. Come on. You get a mega hug. I love it, Jimmy. Your energy is awesome. A shout out to your spouse.
What is a mega hug involve? What is that? Like, is it like do we hear a belt buckle going or something? What happens with a mega hug?
I'll definitely pop my belt buckle so that way I can put all my strength into it. You know?
As long as you don't hear your zip, as long as you don't hear your fly zipper go down.
Oh. All right.
Dave just took it too far.
Yeah, definitely.
I always do.
You know,
that's like British humor.
It got too hot all of a sudden.
Here's the good news: in the United States, it's at least in the East Coast, it's noon to 1:30, and most people are at church, so they're not missing this.
Oh, there you go. They don't have to hear this horrible blasphemy here. So let me ask you guys, Dave, I gotta ask you because I have a friend from the UK. It's also the EIC of Comic Crusaders, and I'm actually gonna make him a partner in Comic Crusaders because he's been so loyal to the brand. But he told me never use this word, fiddle. Is that bad for the
Fiddle.
UK? Yeah, like I'll be fiddling around.
Well, usually it's got a couple of different meanings, but when you use it in that context, so it's someone's on the fiddle, which basically means they're not trustworthy. It's they're going to fiddle you out of money.
Okay,
that sort of thing.
Because he tried to associate it with some perv out of the UK that was the fiddler or some shit.
No, I mean it's well. So there are if you're called a kidney fiddler. Basically, basically you're a pedophile. So if you're a kid,
damn!
Because I always thought like fiddle. When somebody says fiddle, I always thought they're just making music to distract.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But I got corrected very, very humbly. Like, don't use those words.
We apologize to all the people that play the fiddle. You know, now it sounds horrible. Like that guy was. Fiddle over there. I don't know if you know that. And
I saw Jimmy do the finger pose, and I just saw a commercial on Adult Swim animated with a cat that says "Put your finger in me." I'm like, oh my god!
I tried all this during all this COVID stuff. I had, I was due for my colonoscopy.
Oh, so you got saved.
So
you're still a virgin.
Yeah, my dad died from it, so I have to go like regular, like every 4 or 5 years.
Oh damn.
Yeah, they make you do that here. They give you like every 5 years. They basically send you a reminder and say like you're due.
It's time to get fingered.
No, it's not fingered. It's not fingered.
No,
they stick a 35 millimeter camera right up. No, I'm kidding. They
don't fuck with me, bro, because I haven't done that yet. Don't scare me, bro.
You'd rather do that than get a root canal. Because they literally knock you out and you wake up what feels like 3 minutes later and they're like, you're all done. Like,
and your ass is up in the air somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you're asleep while that's happening.
Oh, God, no.
The last time I had it done, they were doing, they basically were doing both ends. And I remember the last thing I told my doctor before going in, I said, like, remember to put the camera in my mouth first.
Oh my God! Has the ICC turned?
They went they went all the way. What?
Came out the back. They just threaded it right through.
For anyone just tuning in, ICC stands for International Comics Crusaders, not International Colonoscopy Crusaders. You know.
If you're over 50, you should get one.
Yep.
Well, I'm not 50 yet.
Easiest thing to do. It's so easy. People are so afraid of it, and I go, my God! Of all the procedures I've ever done, that was the easiest thing. It was like I wasn't there for it,
And that was a good thing.
And here you get a cup of tea and a biscuit afterwards as well.
Yeah, you do. And
they do in England.
And they put it on a postcard too. They take a picture and give you a postcard. Actually, the doctor gives you photos of it. You're like,
I want to see that photo. You just got fingered by Doc.
If you scroll back far enough down my Instagram feed, you can see them all.
Oh no, I don't want to see Dave in that position.
Here's a photo of mine. This is what came out of.
I'm pretty sure that even though you were asleep, that's probably how you screamed. Oh,
Hey, that's
hey.
Dave Johnson. Actually, they found this guy in there, I think.
Holy shit! Now we know where the inspiration comes
I
from.
think I swallowed him when I was 4. So,
Holy shit!
yeah, Dave Johnson's drawings kind of work with everything, don't they?
Oh,
Yeah,
that
excellent.
boom! Oh, damn! Dave Johnson is the man.
He is fantastic.
Yeah, man. So where else can we see Dave Johnson other than just Pop Kill? Since he's not
At his
here with
apartment.
the
Let me
man.
give you the address. Let me give you his address. Dave does a lot of covers, and he has his own. He does a web series. He's on every Thursday.
Really?
Drink
And where
and
can we
Draw.
watch him on Thursday?
Yeah, Drink and Draw. It's him, Dan Pinocchio, a whole bunch of guys. And
The Urban Barbarian. It's so funny. I mostly know people by their damn Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still want Dave to do more Raging Rod. I love that strip.
yeah.
Raging Rod. That just sounds.
He is one of the most talented people I know. Like him and Darwin Cook were my 2 go-to guys for covers. Like Darwin lived right down the street from me, so I used to go there and go, "Can you do this for me?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll get that for you for tomorrow." Dave, and Dave's the same way. Dave's like, "Sure, whatever you got." So they've been my go-to guys forever. I mean, sadly, we don't have Darwin around anymore.
Yeah.
So
Great artist. Wow.
Really sadly, man. You know what I mean? With that frontier, all that. I mean, this dude was boss, so it was very heartbreaking. It's like him and Michael Turner. We lose so many great artists so early, man.
we do.
It sucks.
That's why we have to hug him now.
Yeah. Listen, I celebrate you guys.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so happy to have you, Jimmy, man. Again,
Right, I can go any minute now.
I love you guys, man. I love you and Amanda. Like I said earlier, when I explained to my wife who you guys are, I said you guys are the Jay-Z and Beyonce of comics. You know what I mean? Not royalty.
I'll run that by Amanda, see what she thinks of that. That should be interesting.
Well, if she wants to do a video lip syncing a Beyonce video and you go in, let's do it.
I would drag her here, but she pulled it all nighter. She's sleeping. She's got to get that Harley Birds of Prey book #3 out. So
number 3, keep doing the great work, Amanda. A shout out to your lady again. She does great
we're
stuff.
going to be doing more of our own thing after we're done with this book. We're definitely going to be doing more Kickstarters together.
So I definitely want you guys to come on anytime you have a new project. Now that you know us well, and I definitely want to promote the awesomeness of the Palmiotti family.
She's infinitely more interesting than I am, so she's a good guest.
No, really, I think that going full circle back to the beginning of the conversation, I think that I think the chances of at some point you being able to license from DC Jonah Hex and doing a Jonah Hex book and just giving the royalty, I don't think that's going to be too far off.
Like I said, we would do that, and Amanda has an idea for Power Girl, and we would do the books in a heartbeat. I would get Jordi Bernay back for Jonah and Amanda for the Power Girl.
Can I ask, when it comes to Power Girl, are we going with the traditional Power Girl or the new one?
We did 12 issues, and if we did a new Power Girl, it would be the 13th issue. It would be as if we,
nice.
When we did Harley, we did our last issue, and then when we did Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, that book started around 3 hours later. So we bought everything else and just continued our book, and because we're assholes like that.
No, you're creative like that, because again, keeping continuity and all. I love.
Why shouldn't you keep it?
Keep it real.
DC used to laugh. They used to go, "Oh, that's in like Jimmy and Amanda continuity." Anything with Power Girl or Atlee or Starfire. We would have we'd jump from book to book, and they'd be like, "Well, that's your continuity, so go at it." Don't worry. And with the Birds of Prey book, it's actually all in our continuity as well.
But Jimmy, look at those words. For them to say that it's your continuity, congrats on just that, because they know that no one else could touch this the way that you and Amanda have.
But see that?
Definitely.
I'd just like to see that. I think if I got no realistic expectations of DC doing this, but the idea of them actually taking that on full-heartedly and going like, okay, well, this book is yours, it's your continuity. Basically, the editor's job on this book for you is just to call you to make sure everything's like you would get the whole book in. And
it's pretty much how we were treated with Harley. I mean, Harley, we had Chris Conroy, one of the best editors up there, and he let us do what we wanted. Like, there was a point when Dan DiDio hired us for Harley, we said, we want to do what we want to do. So, and he goes, well, it probably won't last too long, so just do whatever you want. So Harley didn't have really the audience back then. And so we took her out of Gotham, we broke her up with the Joker, we put her in Brooklyn, we gave her own supporting cast, and Amanda changed her costume almost every cover. And that was us doing whatever we wanted. And, it caught on. I mean, so sometimes you have to let the creators. The one thing I learned with Marvel Knights is when I hire Kevin Smith, I want Kevin Smith's voice. And when I hire, Steve Dillon and Garth Ennis, I want Steve and Garth to do what they see. And we've always gotten better work because of it.
Yes.
Well, I think that's a thing that it's like when I started Radical, the first project that we launched, the first one that came out was Hercules.
Right.
And I went to Steve Moore. Now there was a lot of pressure from my partners on that. They went to Steve Niles, they went to a bunch of other comic creators that had sold a movie, and those were the ones they went to first. And Steve's approach was like, well, why are you asking me? I'm Hercules. And I went to Steve Moore, who kind of, some people know him. He's not that well known, but I knew that he was passionate. Steve Moore was one of those guys who he told me once, he said, like, you go to the British Museum, just phone me and I will give you a guided tour.
Nice.
From my house, because he knew the British Museum that well. He knew his history that well. He'd written history books. So I knew that it would be grounded. I mean, all I had to say to him, or the only things I said to him is like, I want to treat Hercules like Jesus, in that I don't want to see any of the other gods. I want the world they're in to believe they exist, but we never see them.
Right. I like it.
And that was literally the only thing I ever told him.
That was a good book. I mean, I did Time Bomb for that.
That's right. Yeah.
It's still one of my favorite books. How it hasn't gotten adapted or bought as a property is beyond me. Maybe it's because I'm not out there shopping it, but it's one of my favorite books, and I think it's one of my favorite Paul Galassi books because Paul penciled and inked it. Yeah. I just don't know what's happening with the properties. I just have no idea. That's a whole another world for me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get it back at some point.
Yeah, one day. You have to outlive everybody. That's the only trick. You have to live longer than everybody. I've gotten a lot of my DC properties back. I've gotten Twilight Experiment, Monolith. I've gotten a whole bunch back.
You got Monolith back?
Yeah, I got Monolith back. I got the Resistance back from DC. The only one they fight me on a little bit is 21 Down, because I think somebody's interested in it. And I'd like to get G.I. Zombie back. I know nobody.
Oh, that would be fire.
I just think that we did it and they put it out, and they've never used the character anywhere else ever again. And that's usually a good thing to get something back, is that nobody cares. So
I want to throw back though, because Painkiller Jane did have a sci-fi series, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel about that, man? And are we going to see any more Painkiller Jane from you in any type of media?
I enjoyed working on this series. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I got to write an episode. I was on a set for a couple of months. They did a TV movie before that. That was fun, but it wasn't the character. We had in development with Jessica Chastain for a couple of years. And I worked on a screenplay with another writer, and then that fell through. So right now we have a screenplay and we have money, but they're going out and trying to cast it right now. And with nothing going on in the world right now, that's all on hold. Honestly, the film stuff is great, but I focus on comics. Those guys are going to do whatever they want. They'll call me when they need me. Like even Random Acts of Violence, I went up to Toronto and watched Jay and everybody film it and gave my 2 cents. But at the end of the day, it's their film adaptation. They're going to do whatever they want.
Understood. All right. So my question is here. So it seems you weren't 100% happy with the Painkiller Jane series. With this one, though, however, the new film Random Acts of Violence, were you happy with the product? And
I am. It's different than my book, though. So when you read my book, it's a different experience than the movie. The movie is more personal to Jay, and he changed some stuff around. That said, I'm happy with both of them existing. So,
all right. So let's talk about that, though. Before we even let you go, I'm sorry, man. We're keeping you on, keeping you, but it's just, you have so much knowledge. So coming from that perspective, as a comic book person, and you go, and the movie's made of something of yours. I mean,
right.
What are the real expectations on control of the characters, so people understand? When you sell your product,
you can expect that you're going to be dealing with hundreds of people that have an opinion of how your property should be presented. You're going to have a director that has his own idea. You're going to have a screenplay that you'll either like or not like, unless you wrote it. And even if you wrote it, the studio will give you changes on it. It's making a film is sort of like a distorted version of a comic. So a comic, I write it, somebody draws it, we match up the lettering, we change the type, and it comes out. Movie is you create a character, they buy the IP, they either hire you or they don't hire you. You're either a producer or you're a writer or you're not. They can't buy any of my properties without me being a producer. So once you earn that in a film before it, they have to, from then on in, that's how it is. So,
gotcha. But is that a good approach to have as a creator? Like, if I'm going to give you my product, I need to have this type.
Absolutely. I mean, they have to pay a producer. So it's not. Mm-hmm. So besides them buying the IP, they have to pay you an amount to be a producer, and they have to base it on your last amount you made as a producer. So it has to be either the same or more.
So what if you have no history? So how did you then set your rate?
Then you have to negotiate, and you have to, whatever your deal is for your IP, you have to say, I want to be a producer, otherwise you can't have it. So you have to sit there and put the property at risk. To hold out for something, and sometimes it falls apart. It depends. I'm not like the person that has to have the films, and I care about it when it's being done. But if my properties don't get adapted, I'm okay. So if they come with me with a weird demand, I'm like, you don't get the property. I've done it twice where they came to me and said, well, here's what we want to do. Here's what you'll get. And I was like, nah, we're going to pass. And one of them, they were not happy, but they were not willing to negotiate. The other,
them then if they weren't happy. If you're not going to negotiate.
When Joe and I sold Ash, we turned down the first offer, and it was for over $1 million.
Wow, really?
Ooh.
Because we turned it down because we wanted something in it, and they just didn't budge. And but they came back and renegotiated, and. But it was an interesting lesson because Joe and I had to sit there and say, are we okay with not getting this deal? Like, it's a lot of money, but we were both single guys and we were like, we'll make more money. Like, you're at that age where you're like, I'm going to make more money.
You're a hustler, kiddo. You're from New York. Forget about it.
Well,
I always have the story that Will Eisner said, which was because with the Spirit, it was constantly being optioned and re-optioned.
Yep.
And his greatest fear was that it was ever going to get made, because he didn't want one made.
Right.
And he knew the likelihood of it actually being made in his lifetime probably wasn't, but he was happy for the money. So
look, we've sold the Pro maybe 8 times, and just when we think they're going to make it, they chicken out at the last minute. The Pro is like the one thing. I thought with the boys on Amazon, it would be the next thing somebody would buy.
Yeah.
But, who knows? But like I said, it definitely gave us a check every couple of years, because somebody would always option it. So,
that Pro is fire, Jimmy. I mean, when I read that shit the first time in my life, I was in tears laughing. Like, what is this? This is so wild. It blew my mind. So you're so right.
It's a comic book without having editors and without having people telling you what to do.
And
we literally made it up in a bar in Germany,
No way. Was Chris there?
Now, we were in Essen, Chris. We were in Essen, Germany, and
I know Essen. Essen is not far from here.
yeah, we were in a bar called Fritz Patrick's.
Oh, cool.
Fritz Patrick's.
Excellent.
Garth did not know it was. He thought it was Fitzpatrick's, and the last night we were there, I said, "That is Fritz Patrick, not Fitzpatrick's," and he goes,
Like, holy shit, I drank that much. Awesome.
So we were drinking, and we were talking about, a female superhero, like if she was a prostitute, and Amanda drew the pro on a napkin. And we just kept talking about it, and I said, why don't we just do it and see if somebody wants to buy it? And we actually offered it to DC first. And
DC would never. I see this on Indie because, again, it's so much fun. When I first read it, I had a whole trip because I was buying that Mark Millar magazine where you already started putting in the strips.
Yeah, they reprinted it. Yeah,
I have them, still in storage. Those magazines. I mean, it was an awesome idea for a magazine. Too bad, obviously, yeah, Clint, there you go. I have like the first 10 issues.
Do you know what? Do you know why that was called Clint?
No,
I do.
Yeah,
it's a lettering rule.
Yeah, if you actually look at the lettering on it, you look at the word Clint.
Okay.
And then
we'll do this for you.
Yeah.
I'm getting schooled here. This is awesome. Yeah. And that smirk on Dave's face, something's up.
Okay.
Chris is gonna smoke his stove. Like, okay.
I mean, it's really rough, but
I'm an asshole. I never fucking know.
Well, a little close to the little north.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, right.
but I see it. I don't want to say it, but
well, you see, if you, and particularly if you have a character on the logo whose head just happens to splot that corner of the L and the I, so that it looks like it's connected.
Mm-hmm. So naughty. Holy shit.
There's another one you can't use too, right? So
yeah, we could show anything. I just don't want to say something.
No, the word flick, right?
Oh, true. True.
Nice.
The greatest team in comics is
oh man,
characters right there.
I will never look at my magazines the same again.
The Adventures of Flick and Flick. I mean, who wouldn't want to? That would make a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It would. You know what? I think Jimmy just gave away his next Kickstarter over here with and some Clint and some Flicks.
There's somebody out there to make that one. I'm not making. I'm too old for that. I think we need like a 22-year-old to go make that book.
Yeah, because especially with how the world is nowadays, it'll be even much more wilder than what we could come up with.
Yeah.
Let's get real here, man. People have a very good imagination.
Yeah.
Yo, Jimmy, man, I enjoy your time here. So even before we go, I know that we're also going through a tough time here in Florida, since you are based in Florida, man. Yeah. Are you and the family keeping safe during these times?
Yeah, we're staying, ahead of the curve. We're masked every time we go out. We wear masks. We wash our hands all the time. We do not go in groups. We try to stay away from anything indoors unless we have to, like supermarkets and stuff like that. We watch a lot of people. We're near Clearwater Beach. We watch hundreds of people last night. Hundreds of people standing outside the bars drinking, and no social distancing. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes stupid is gonna hurt. And sadly, we drive by and we're like, keep driving. Yeah. Don't yell out the window. Hey, what the fuck's wrong with you people? We resist.
It's hard to, and I could agree with that because, I was one of those hard-headed people at first, but then once I found out that from my mom, that people in my old neighborhood, kids lost their parents, for example, kids that grew up with my daughter, and that really hit home to me because I knew these people.
Yeah.
And when people say that this is bullshit, fuck you. It's not, because I'm suffering loss and I'm going through pain of loss because of what's going on nowadays. So please, on some real shit, wear your mask.
It's easy.
It just takes 2 seconds, man, in and out. Once you're outside going to your car, you take it off. But if you're indoors, it's not about, you. It's about you respecting everyone else.
Yeah, my dad was in World War II, and he lost a brother. I lost an uncle there, and
I'm sorry.
I never knew him, but, it was before I was born. But my whole family, you know, all my dad's brothers were in World War II, and you know, they made the sacrifice and they fought all over a Pacific fight and also in overseas. And you know, I think wearing a mask, I got it kind of easy compared to losing somebody, losing a kid, and fighting in a war. You know, I mean, it's such a minimal thing to do.
It is
to make sure other people are safe. That of course I'll do it.
See, I'm not a veteran, but my uncle that passed away was, and his name is Jose Perez, and he was one of the Borinqueneers, which was that special Puerto Rican group, you know, the minority group in the Army division, you know, because they segregated us back then. Right. So my uncle was actually a sergeant within the Borinqueneers, something I'm very proud in the history of this country. You know what I mean? We help, you know what I mean, and we're here to continue helping. So you know, don't push us aside or try to sell our island like the orange one is trying to do.
But you don't like when they throw paper towels at you?
Oh, exactly. Oh my God, Jimmy, I would have thrown that shit right back at him. Like, you dumb, you know. I'm an asshole, and I will probably get arrested. This is a good thing that I'm a hermit right now, because you put me on the streets and people treat me that way. Guess what? I'm gonna treat you the same way, man. Karma's a bitch.
Yeah, you know, it's karma, and it's not a brain. His brain doesn't work the way most people's. You know, it's there's a lot of problems.
It's a shame. Like that day with the Hispanic stuff, when he put up Taco Tuesday saying, "Who says I don't love Mexicans?" I'm like, that's the most racist shit I've ever seen in my life. The way you came out with it, though.
Yeah,
and it's not right. I felt hurt. You know, I'm not Mexican, but I'm still Latino. You know, I speak that language, and look, come on, man, stop treating us like this, man.
America's a great place. If the news only focuses on those
the negative, and I hate that.
Yeah,
this is why we have ICC, we have Comic Crusaders, because I want to focus also on positive. We could discuss these negatives, why not? You know, but let's turn them into positives. You know what I mean? Because again, look. Jimmy,
it's very entertaining for Chris and Dave, though. I mean, at least then they don't have to deal with American tourists for a while.
They don't want Americans over there.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, we've just like apparently the British government has just banned the French, but I think the French banned us. And
what about
we did the same? We did the same with the Spanish, and they banned us.
How about the Italians, though? What about the Italians?
Oi, you know what's going on here?
Oi, that's yeah.
That's Jewish, but you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, bro? You know, come on, I'm from Brooklyn. I grew up with Jews, Italians, Polish people, Latino people. I mean, yo, again, who would know that this Puerto Rican from New York one day was at a bodega as a kid, and this Polish man is talking to a Dominican person in Polish, and I was able to somehow translate it and help him. That the only thing that my Polish friend was able to tell me was look at me and say, "Thank you, my friend," because I accomplished the goal. And then the Dominican dude is looking at me like, "How do you know Polish?" I'm like, "No, but I grew up around them so much that I kind of pick up on certain things."
Well, I mean, when I was growing up in London, it was all my friends at school. You were either from Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Uganda, Nigeria, Jamaica. You know.
No wonder with this we have it over there. All these people.
I think the greatest mix growing up in Brooklyn was that we were able to have like so many great foods available.
Where I lived in Crown Heights, and so literally I would come out my front door, and depending on what I wanted, I would either. I could turn right and get the best like patties, jerk chicken, whatever I wanted. Go the other way, get the best bagels. Cream cheese.
Let me tell you, and I think Jimmy could agree with me. No one outside of New York knows how to make a damn bagel.
We found a good place here.
No,
yeah,
Jimmy. You know what? We're looking for rolls to make a real bacon, egg, and cheese because every thing here is a soft roll. They don't know what a New York roll is. Jimmy, if you found this place, please send me this info.
You should check out a place called Lucky Dill. It's all New Yorkers run it.
Lucky Dill?
Yeah, Lucky Dill it's called. Yep.
Oh, where? Let's shout them out because if you're a New Yorker outside of New York, you need to go here.
See if they're anywhere near you. There's a couple in Clearwater.
Lucky Dill.
You know, we found what happens down. Okay, so so Dave and Chris, you can understand is Florida is considered the 6th borough of New York.
Get the fuck out.
Because there's so many New Yorkers here. So
Yeah.
we have the pizzerias, we have the bread place, we have the bakeries, we have because they took it all from New York and opened them up down here for the New Yorkers that were coming down here. I mean,
Jimmy, you ain't fucking around with the pizza, because when I was in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, that was the worst pizza I ever had in my life. But then we come down here and we find a spot called Valdiano's that comes close. It's like they get the water from New York.
There you go. Oh, they tell you that, whatever it may be. It's all the ingredients. Bagels are tough, but like I said, we found a bagel place, and they're very fattening bagels, so you have to be careful.
It's all right, man. I want to get fat. I'm in New York. I've been fasting here because I can't stand the food.
I remember the first time I was in New York. I went for a week, stayed 3, and I put on 10 pounds, and it was because I was staying with Scott Dunbeer, and so Scott loves pizza. So he was asking me, he says, like, do you like pizza? I'm going like, it's okay. And he goes, I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of like Pizza Hut, aren't you? And I'm going like, well, that's pizza, right? He goes, no. So we would go, there was a store called Big Apple Comics on 94th on Broadway.
Oh, shit. Awesome.
And they had a diner right downstairs. So that's where we'd have breakfast a lot of days.
Yeah.
But about 4 or 5 doors before it was Sal and Carmine's Pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And it would so you go in and get a slice. I'm going and it's just plain. And you pick it up and it's just like, it's just, the oil is just like running off the sides. And I'm going like, how do I hold this thing?
Yeah.
It's it. And it was just like every single day. We couldn't walk past it unless I got a slice of pizza. It was just like, I mean, it was like,
back then I would have taken you to I could give you a pizza tour of Brooklyn.
Oh,
the different styles of pizza. You know?
There's different breads. There's the semolina bread. There's that other type of bread. You got the thin crust. You got the thick crust, bro.
We have all these Italian immigrants here, so we have the best pizza in Germany as well.
There you go.
We need the water, Chris.
We need the water.
Chris, so maybe go to Germany.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What part of Germany are you from, Chris?
I'm in the western part, close to Düsseldorf. Do you know Düsseldorf?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm 20 minutes from Düsseldorf.
Nice. Very nice.
Listen, only New York makes the best pizza.
Amanda and I
had great pizza in New York.
We want to go back to Germany and kind of travel through it, but we have to wait till everything cools down, unless we can get smuggled somehow.
Yeah, we're right in the middle between Düsseldorf and Cologne, so we have these great cities close by. That's very nice.
Nice.
We did just have a really nice new pretzel place open up here.
That's so
Yeah.
Nice.
Like a nice big beer and a hot pretzel.
Yeah, but you know what though? If you're not getting it from one of those hot dog vendors in New York, those dirty water dogs with those pretzels, it's not a real pretzel.
Those,
come to Bavaria.
You know those pretzels in New York? They were actually made in World War II and frozen. They used to send them over to the soldiers, and they filled warehouses with them, and that's the ones you eat now.
I'm eating 80-year-old pretzels, bro.
The dirty water dogs. There's a rat that lives underneath each one. That just when the dogs get too saturated with water, they sink, and there's a water rat that stays under there and eats the
That's where you get the extra flavor from, bro. Come on now.
See, when my daughter went to college in Boston, I would regularly, not quite every week, but almost. I'd freeze some bagels and FedEx them to her.
Nice. It works out great. I mean, you can throw them in the freezer and leave them there. Yeah. They have near me. They have a Wednesday. You buy 1 dozen, you get a dozen free.
Yeah.
So usually we buy them and then we give them out to our neighbors.
Jimmy, when I visit Clearwater, don't think that I'm stalking you. I'm actually gonna go get those bagels.
Bagels and pizza, right?
We'll hook you up. When you come.
No, I'm gonna let you know because my wife. Again, she misses all that New York appeal, all that New York food. Because I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk shit, but New York does have some great stuff. This is what it is.
I always say every city has something that they make fantastic.
And then bagels, man.
And no matter where you travel, we go through Italy, France, Germany. There's always a city that has. I remember in Germany there was a great bakery we went to, and the food was amazing. Plus in Germany, the meat dinners, like we had 8 kinds of meat.
Yeah.
You know?
What? A meat dinner? What are you telling me here, bro?
Oh, dude,
I'm a
Germany-
carnivore.
Goulash.
Oh,
Excellent.
Germany. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, bro, that means I would be a fat fuck if I hit Germany.
No, you get like
love to
those,
cook.
go to one of those restaurants where you get the steaks, where they do a big steak, but they serve it on a hot rock, and it basically you cook it. Yeah, you cook it in front. Yeah. And
I
then
remember
you slice it off.
the guys from Panini took us out for dinner, and they're like, you eat meat? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And he goes, all right, we're just gonna order for the table, and it was like tons of different meat, and I was like, oh yeah.
Oh my God, bro! Really?
Drinking beer and eating meat. I was like, oh.
Wait, Jimmy,
Wow.
And bread, a lot of breads.
Because you went to Germany, I'm a beer fan, and I've hit some German beer gardens in New York back in the day, right? So is it true? Do they also serve the beer hot over there?
No, ice cold. Ice cold.
Yeah.
Really? Chris, I went to a German beer garden in Brooklyn in Williamsburg around the south side. It was hot. Me and my brother got so effed up.
Now that's fake Brooklynites feeding you bad beer.
Those bad bastards.
They're not real Brooklynites. They wouldn't warm beer.
No, you
and
see,
I drank it like an asshole. And my wife and my sister-in-law at the time were looking at both of us like, you two assholes, what's wrong with you?
no, you see, it always
like
used
hot
to be,
beer, damn it.
No, I always used to remember people saying like, "Oh, you're from England, so you like your beer warm," and I'm like, "No,
no."
But the thing is, the thing is, with a lot of British beer, particularly the darker beers, the bitters, the ales, they're not ice cold, so they're kept in the cellar in casks, and it's pumped up, so it's in the cellar cold, but it's not like there's a lot of American beers like Miller and Budweiser where you have to have it cold or else you can taste it.
Right.
Yeah, or you have to drink a lot of pills, which is basically lager. You drink it ice cold.
Yeah, or else you can taste it and you don't want to taste it.
Come on.
All right, folks, we've hit the 2-hour mark. I don't want to take too much more of Jimmy's time.
Did we learn a lot today? We learned a lot about food today, that's for sure.
Yeah, we learned about food, we learned about comics, we learned about film, we learned about Kickstarters, all this nonsense going on in DC. You know what I mean? Yo, Dave, Chris, and of course, Jimmy P. Thank you so much for taking this time to chit-chat and just hang out on this wonderful Sunday. And I let it go 2 hours because I'm on vacation. So I'll make a free. Woo!
I will enjoy, man.
Yeah, it's just great energy, man. I love you guys very much, Jimmy. I really respect everything you do because you know, not just because you've been an early supporter of Comic Crusaders, but I've been a fan since early on. Like I said, I got my Painkiller James. I got a lot of stuff you worked on in my garage because that's the only way I'm able to.
Well, thank you.
Hold on to it.
Hopefully, one day your children can sell it and make some money.
No, you know what though? You know, you're right because I already told my daughter, it's like, hey, this all stuff is yours. You know, at the end of the day, you know. But one thing, and I want to tell this to everybody, you know, when you have a kid, don't tell them to be an employee. Push them to be a boss. All right, that's how I push my daughter. I don't want her to work like me all my life. I want her to own, and she already has something established in Comic Crew. If she wants to use it. Her choice, of course. I won't force it, but I want to put that boss mentality in everybody. So even if you guys aren't doing it, share that stuff with your kids. Be a boss. Be like Jimmy. You know what I mean? He's the king of Kickstarter. Let's get it real. I mean, 14 Kickstarters and all successful, right?
Yes.
14.
That's right.
And all successful, guys.
That's
that
right.
You know, if Jimmy could do it, you could do it. I'm pretty sure. You know, Jimmy just shared some awesome information.
That's the number one rule. If I could do it, anyone can do it.
No.
Jimmy, you're very special, but the fact is that you know what I mean. That if you really want something bad and you have the passion and desire to do it, yes, you can do it. You know what I mean? And follow Jimmy's plan the way he does.
You got to have the passion.
Pre-game.
The passion. Don't do it. Don't do it if you think it's like, oh, I'm going to see if I can make some money. No. You do it so that you can do a thing of passion and do more things of passion.
Money and fame means nothing.
Yeah.
Passion, ambition, and love.
And bagels.
That's
Yeah.
it, brother. And bagels. Yeah,
Consistency.
brother.
Consistency.
Some bagels.
And pizza and beer.
Like Chris said.
And there we go, folks. I'm Omega
Right.
with my awesome team of Dave Elliott from the UK, Mr. Chris Buse from Germany, and my man Jimmy in my new hometown of Florida. I'm Omega, and we out. Thank you so much for tuning in
Thank you so much for
today.
watching.
Yeah, so again,
Peace out.
Jimmy, before you go,
Thanks,
Jimmy,
Jimmy.
shout them out. Where can they follow you on Kickstarter? What's the project, your website, and your social media?
Pop Kill on Kickstarter, social media, Jay Palmiotti, and on Instagram, my name too. Again, Palmiotti. You'll find me. That's it.
Wepa! And we out, folks. Much love.